floor is yours, Adam.
Thank you, George, and good evening. We've got a lot of issues to handle next year, with the number one issue being Medicaid expansion, which we've been working on for several years. Senator Barker is going to discuss that in more detail, but what I wanted to do was talk a little bit about how we know what we're going to do. There are a number of factors that are going to go into that. First, are we going to win the Senate majority? We're working hard to do that, but we need to do that to further the governor's agenda. How many new House Democrats will there be? That'll be helpful to the governor's agenda as well. And will the economy and revenue collection continue to pick up, allowing for us to make the additional needed investments in education and otherwise? And we don't know yet what else the governor will put on his agenda. But regarding these elections, the stakes are very high. The Senate is now divided with 21 Republicans, 19 Democrats. And with the Democratic majority within reach, with your help and with our work as well. A Democratic majority will prevent threats to a woman's right to choose. It'll move towards equality for all Virginians and towards more meaningful investments in higher education, pre-K as well as K-12. This year, Senator Barker and I worked hard and finally brought some fairness to the tax refund process by seeing that when you get a tax return, you don't just get a plastic debit card if you don't use direct deposit. We had a lot of Virginians who were getting plastic cards that were fraught with fees for using them too often, fees for inquiring too often, fees even for complaining. But next year, and it affected low-income Virginians the most. People were unbanked. But next year we've got more to do. We've got more to do processing PERC kits, physical evidence recovery kits, in the instance of sexual assault. Those evidence kits, we know there are about 2,000 or more right now untested on the shelves of various police agencies across the Commonwealth. I'm continuing to work on asbestos worker protections, and with the help of the Housing Commission I met with last week, I think we're going to move forward. These are people who are doing really dangerous work, not always getting the warnings and the safeguards that they need, and we're going to see they do when they get a license. I'm going to continue to do work towards prison reentry and also towards tax loopholes, to cutting some tax loopholes. I worked this year on online travel companies that deal with Expedia, where you reserve a room and they don't pay the tax that you remit to them. We want to work on that. Additionally, I'll be working, continuing to try and reform marijuana laws, which will be difficult. And lastly, I'll just say it's unlikely that there'll be any significant additional changes to our ethics laws. But thanks for having me, and thanks for all you do as Democrats.